What is up, YouTube? JankyYGO here. We're playing one of the jankiest archetypes out there, known as aliens, so wish us luck, because we're not gonna probably have a wonderful time, especially versus zombies, which we seem to run into a lot on this platform, which is kind of interesting. I would think that, like, they wouldn't maybe be as popular. Well, zombies have always been, like, a fan favorite thing, but it always seemed like we run into them a lot on this series. So, our opponent's gonna discard Gozuki. Yeah, yeah, I figured. So, I wonder what our opponent's gonna make and what they're gonna send. I would imagine that they send another Gozuki, but also, like, okay, yeah, they're playing the Zombie World deck. Luckily, this deck doesn't. I don't think it is restricted by reptile types besides our Link monster, which we don't need. Ooh, Hockey Firebricks. Neat. Yeah. For Link Rebo. And then they're going to summon a level 5. Yeah. This is probably going to be pretty rough, I'm not going to lie. Because this thing can negate zombie effects, and we don't have a way to get rid of this. But aliens aren't exactly known for being a good deck anyway, so yeah. What? Oh, hello. What do you do? Oh, your opponent's banished. If your opponent special summons, you can activate target one face-up monster, change its attack to 0, negate its effects. Okay. Special summon from the graveyard. Alright, so I gotta read what my synchro alien. Okay. That's all it cares about. I'm gonna target this. Let's see if our opponent does anything. No? Okay. It's Sin Telepath. We're gonna activate this. We're gonna special summon the Telepath. And see if our opponent does anything. They can negate it with Yukiona if they want to. They also have Ghost. Okay. If I just normal summon this, I'm gonna play a little bit conservatively, because of Zombie World. I don't think I need to really do too much, because if I activate any zombie effects, this can banish things or negate things. So I gotta play a little bit conservatively. I can't attack over anything, so I'm gonna pass the old turn. This card being out isn't as big as an issue as, say, as this one, but we have our pollutant to destroy this. That's all it's gonna do, really. And then this will come back, and we're gonna still be in the same or a similar predicament. Okay. And target this to make it a higher level. Sure. I think one of the issues with this deck is that the A counter mechanic, the A counters themselves should just be like part of the, should be part of like the A counters in general, that they lower the attack by 300 during damage calc in general. The issue, another issue is that not all of the aliens actually have that effect. But yeah. Okay, that's fine. Sure. You send a Mizuki. Yeah. 7. Okay. Goes attack. Now we're gonna use this. There, Yukiona is gonna live. This is gonna come back, but you know, this is the way to stay alive. It's gonna blow up both of these if they don't have a response. And then when this comes back, it's gonna have a counter on it. Yeah. Then we're gonna use this, and we're gonna go get our dog. Get the Doge. Let's try to remove 2 counters. Summon the telepath. They can negate if they want, because that's going to activate that effect. They're going to negate it. Yeah, buddy. We're going to normal summon and activate this. Target this. And then we're going to activate this. So it's going to kind of chain block this. I mean, they can banish that. And if they do, that happens. Oh, well. This can't miss timing. Now they can banish whatever. If they banish this, it's fine still. It's not the greatest, but we can still do things. Okay, gonna activate this to negate that. This to banish our level 1 tuner, I'm assuming. Oh. Okay. You know, that's fine, actually. What do you have? Even like slow rolling a solemn strike, I'd be, oh, a super poly. Okay. Yeah. Sometimes our opponent just has everything. Yeah, they have game on board. That's rough, dude. Yeah, we'll go to the deck profile now. So this is the deck. 3 of the vanilla. 1 copy of this because it summons itself. 2 of this because it's honestly just kind of like bottom of the barrel for... It's one of the better ones, but it's still not very good. Most of the aliens aren't very good. It places A counters, and that's what the deck wants to do. This removes A counters, destroys spell and traps. It would have helped there, but our opponent basically had set up already. It happens, you know. Kid is okay. Kid summon, puts 1 on everything. This gets special summoned. Rabbit summons these 2 from the deck, and that's kind of what that's a thing to do. It's a starter play basically. Dog is good as a chain blocks kind of with Ammo Knight if you have both of these out, and you can go into synchro 7s if you build your deck for it. I didn't. Realistically, you could have 7s. You could have generic 5s, 7s, and 9 with Ammonite. Mars is good. The effects of monsters with A counters are negated, except for it, of course. It's a good card, but the issue comes that there's no good way to like summon it without wasting a normal summon. Because if you use Ammonite, you run the risk of not being, you can't synchro with it, and it gets destroyed during the end phase. And yeah, but other than that, it's good. It's like a skill drain, and you can placing A counters is the least the problems that this deck has. Honestly, the problems come from there's not enough actual payoffs for doing the A counters, or the monsters themselves aren't very good. themselves, besides Mars. This is the best card in the deck by far. It is the Tuner, and it summons one from the graveyard and destroys destroys it during the end phase, but you're going to use it to synchro, or sometimes I've used them to Xyz. Next up, we're playing 3 Mysterious Triangle. You destroy a card on the field with an A counter, then you can special summon 1 alien monster from your deck, and then, you know, it's destroyed during the end phase. This is, like, one of the better cards. Even the newest text doesn't say target, so, but, like, it might be a problem with Edo Pro, or it just could be a Konami says so thing, but I don't think this card targets, because it doesn't say target on the card, doesn't say it on the newest, or on the database either, so maybe it needs an errata to say that it does, or it's just fine not targeting. As this came out before problem-solving card text. But if it doesn't target, which I would rule that it doesn't, because it doesn't say on the database that it does either, as a judge, that would be my official ruling. It would, I would just, like, I don't think it targets. And then, yeah, it's still a good card. Its only downside is that, you know, the downside is actually that the fact that the alien monster that you summon is a level 4. That's the actual downside of it. So you can't summon Mars from the deck. That'd be the only one you would want to summon from the deck anyway, except for maybe this if you already have a 4 on the field and you just want to go into the synchro. We're playing A Cell Recombination, which is one of the best cards that they ever got for support. And it, you target a face-up monster on the field, you send an alien from your deck, and then you place that many A counters equal to its level. And then it also searches during the next main phase, or during your next main phase, you can search by banishing it. So yeah, I think this card is really, really good, and it's literally a Foolish Burial that does even more for the deck. And that's amazing. It does everything that the deck almost wants to do. The only issue is that they felt the need to put that downside on its second effect. Because let's be real here, even if aliens had been able to send a card and then search for Ammonite, being a 1-card Synchro 5, which is what this card would end up to possibly 8, would be 1, 5, you do 5, 7, and 8 for synchros with this card potentially. That's still not good enough, in my opinion, to really justify, like, having that downside. But yeah. Next up, A Cell Breeding Device. This card is really bad. It places 1 A counter during each of your standby phases on a face-up monster your opponent controls. It's in the deck because it kind of has to be more than anything, and that's really another issue, is that it's kind of sad that, like, you have to rely on some of these really bad cards in the deck. As I said, A counters aren't really a problem of getting them usually, but you still need this card nonetheless, which is really awkward. Next up, A Cell Incubator. This card's actually not that bad. As you remove, since this whole thing centers around removing A counters to and everything to get effects, rather than or you can do the beatdown strategy, but the beatdown strategy of, oh, they lost attack and everything doesn't really work, and it's not gonna work. You want to be using them for the other effects, and this kind of helps keep the A counter train rolling, and synergizes well with the next card, which we tried using in our duel, A Coda Ancient Runes, which if an alien monster is destroyed, you place an A counter, and then you can remove 2 A counters from anywhere to special summon an alien from your graveyard. It's the monster reborn from the deck. It's a continuous spell, which is actually really relevant in this deck, and we'll get to why in a little bit. This is really good. It's not hard once per turn by name, so if you have multiple, or if you have a way to bounce it back to your hand and replay it multiple times in a turn, you can keep getting more A counters, assuming that you are more special summons, assuming you have that much A counters on the field. Next up, 2, Planet Pollutant Virus. This card can be really, really good. As we saw, I used it to kind of board wipe the opponent. If had it gone first, I might have been able to, you know, do a little bit more with this card. This card is one of the things that's like the deck wants to go first, but it also doesn't set up a bunch of negates, and which is kind of awkward. But you can disrupt your opponent's plays with this card, which makes it fairly good. Next up, Mass Hypnosis. Mass Hypnosis is a great card. So you can only activate while you control an alien monster, and you take up to 3 of your opponent's monsters that have A counters on them, but the card is destroyed during the end phase the turn is activated. So, what you can do with this, in theory, is if you have an alien monster out, they have A counters on them and everything, maybe Pollutant Virus during the battle phase, and then their second main phase, they're able to summon a few back, get some monsters, and they don't have a lot of negates out, and you have this. On your next turn, in theory, you can flip this up, steal your opponent's monsters, synchro. If they're playing rank 4s, you can go into some. If they're playing level 4s, you can go into some rank 4s with their links and their synchros. You can use their effects and stuff like that. We're playing 2 Fiendish Chains. It's a continuous, and that's mainly why. So all these are continuouses. Call the Haunted, you know what Call the Haunted do. And this is another way to steal your opponent's monsters. We're playing a lot of continuouses for Cosmic Fortress Golgar. So it requires an alien Ammonite and 1 or more alien monsters. And we're doing it for this first effect. So you can select any number of face-up spell or trap cards. Return those cards to the owner's hand and distribute new A counters on the field equal to the number of cards returned to the hand. So this card is actually really good, and also you can remove 2 A counters to destroy one card your opponent controls. This card's actually pretty good. You know why? Because this can actually bounce your opponent's stuff if they have any face-up things, which are like, whoa, what would they bounce? Well, you could bounce it. What could you bounce? Well, if your opponent has a field spell, you could bounce one of those. A lot of decks get good continuous spells that they might play that like search things. If you can play around Borreload's Savage Dragon, you can bounce back the Link monster, because while it's equipped, it's treated as a face-up continuous spell, or equipped spell. So you can bounce that back. As for the XEs, these just because they're decent. King of the Feral Imps, because it searches our entire deck. Tornado Dragon, because it can pop spell and trap cards. Guska's good. I just like Honor Arc. I just like this card. Realistically, it probably should be Castel. Dagusto Emerald has 2 functions in this deck. One is the Shuffle Back effect for our XEs, Synchros, Fusion, and our Link. That's what we're going to use it for 9 times out of 10. But it also can summon our Alien Shock Trooper, which is kind of cool because of its second effect. Abyss Dweller, just a good card. And then this card is also one of the best cards in the deck that the deck has ever gotten. Shock Trooper. So, Shock Trooper says you discard a monster, place A counters equal to the discarded monster's level, and you can distribute them as you wish. And then if it's destroyed by battle, you can special summon non-link reptile monsters with different names from your graveyard up to the number of monsters your opponent controls with A counters. So during the battle phase, which is probably where you would want to, or in response to them trying to destroy it with a card effect, you're going to discard a card, a reptile, put A counters on stuff, then it's going to get destroyed, and then you're going to special summon back all of your alien monsters. So yeah, that's kind of what the card's there for. It also places a lot of A counters on this stuff. And yeah, that's the deck. Tell me what you think of my alien deck. Obviously, it's not a great deck, but aliens in general, there's not really a lot of ways to make them a really good deck and keep them in the spirit of aliens rather than maybe having like a weird small engine instead. I don't I don't think there is a good way to do that. But anyway, if it is your birthday today, happy birthday. If you want to send me any cool deck profiles or replays, emails in the description. Please do so. And of course, and as always, have a wonderful day.